Your hair looks good again. And before we start, I just want to address a formal welcome to all the people here in this Maastricht Summit. So, welcome to the graduates, their families, friends, and colleagues to this graduation ceremony here in the Maastricht Saal at Maastricht University. It's a great pleasure seeing all the candidates together here, many of them having their family and partners along, to officially receive the result of their hard work of the past years, and that is, of course, the diploma. But before we will start with the first part of handing out these diplomas, I would like to briefly explain the role of the Board of Examiners. And I just realized that I wasn't announced like in other sessions. My name is Rory Koenen. I am an associate professor at Biochemistry Department, Maastricht University, and I'm also the vice chair of the Board of Examiners of Biomedical Sciences. So, having done this formality, so the study of biomedical sciences is governed by the Faculty of Health, Medicine and Life Sciences of Maastricht University, and the Board of Examiners of Biomedical Sciences is responsible for guaranteeing the quality of the various types of examination in this study. For this duty, we are obliged to adhere to the requirements that are defined within the Dutch law of higher education and scientific research, or in Dutch, Wet op het hoger onderwijs en wetenschappelijk onderzoek. We as Board of Examiners execute those requirements by defining and practicing our own rules and regulations. In a tight collaboration with the educational parties, that is, the teachers, the instructors, the examiners, the mentors, we carefully set standards for passing courses, the quality of examinations, the possibility of taking resits, and for the filing of complaints. Our regulations are updated every year in order to keep improving these standards. In addition, the study biomedical sciences is regularly audited by a governmentally appointed committee of experts and has received very positive feedback from those experts more than once. This is all to warrant that the final result, and that is the diplomas here that will be handed out to the graduates in a couple of minutes, are an emblem of quality and a testimony of the high standards of both Dutch and Maastricht University education. The graduates are about to receive this diploma of a completely English curriculum, which was fully revised in 2016 based on the principles of constructive alignment and longitudinal competence-focused learning. Having said this, it's a privilege and a pleasure of supporting the handing out of handing out the diplomas of the study biomedical sciences, and to be among the first to graduate the graduates with their achievement. So before we move, I would like to invite Dr. Roger Godskalk, who is the director of the education of BMS, to the microphone.
Okay, some familiar faces, right? Differently dressed. As Rory said, good hair, right? I'm usually also not dressed like this for the parents, so you might not recognize me, but I'm Roger Godskalk. I'm the Bachelor Coordinator of Biomedical Sciences. And what we are actually doing here today is we are closing the empirical cycle. Right? I was one of the first to give a lecture to you, right? And now I will be one of the last to give a lecture to you, or a short presentation of your Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences. And maybe we are closing that circle, and you may think that you are finishing up, right? Winston Churchill once said, now this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but maybe the end of the beginning, right? Because from now on, you are continuing with your career. Some of you may start with a master. Some of you may start to work at a company or wherever. Some of you may have a year in between, right, and go traveling. but eventually you will have to continue with the rest of your career for the rest of your life. And we hope that we here at Maastricht University, we prepared you for that future path that you are going to choose. We did that using those competencies. I think you all know about them, right? The BKIPs. One of those competencies was the biomedical expert competency, right? Marie Curie, she once said, science is about facts and not about people. And maybe that's true, right? So because we try to give you those facts about human biology, but we also wanted you to become a researcher, and doing research is not about it's not about the facts only, it's also about the people that do it, because most of the research we do together, right? So the scientists, as Marie Curie, all alone in her lab, that was something in the past. Now we work together, now we do it in collaboration, not only within Maastricht University or other institutes, but usually in an international setting. So what we also try to teach you is how to communicate. And unfortunately, communication was quite difficult in the past 4 years, right? With the COVID pandemic, we had to switch to Zoom. That is actually not as good as the face-to-face meetings that we had in our tutorials. And actually, Charles Dickens already said that electric communication will never be a substitute for a face-to-face meeting. And I agree with that. And I think you all also agree that being here and meeting each other was much more efficient than the electric communication. I think he was talking about the phone, right? And we are now talking about Zoom, Teams, WhatsApp, and so on. So we had to collaborate. The next item that we discussed was investigator, right? So one of the competencies, we want you to become a researcher, we want you to become curious, and that you are able to make studies and find out new stuff. But in science, I think, and in that progress towards becoming an investigator, an independent investigator, you make your mistakes, I guess. We made our mistakes, you made your mistakes, but I think what is important is that we learn from our mistakes, right? And I think it is already said before that making mistakes is maybe the best way to move forward, because then you can learn from those mistakes and you can change it. This was Jules Verne in 1828, or maybe he said it somewhere later, but he was not the first who said it. So I did my research myself, and I tried to find out who was the first to say this, and I found him. The greatest teacher failure is. I found that information on a very nice, reliable website, Yodapedia. Right? So you, in this I competency, we also taught you, okay, how can you can find a lot of information, and how can you rely on that information, and how can you make sure that the information that you get is true. So BBY stands for Before the Battle of Yavin, for those who want to. I'm a Star Wars freak, so. The last competency is the professional behavior, right? So you all, in that competency, we also, we of course, we hope that you had professional behavior towards the students or to fellow students, to teachers, etc. But what's also important there is your future career, right? So biomedical science is a very broad field. You can go into the heart diseases, cancer, diabetes, etc. And you all spread out into everybody doing his own internship and doing what you like best. Because I think what we want is that you go to work in the coming 40 years or so and enjoying to go there, right? Because you do what you like, right? And I hope that we steered you in a direction that you are now in a field of expertise that you really like, and that you also can go into that either in a company, either in the academics, right, in the universities, but maybe you are going to teach or doing something completely else, right? So we tried to get the best out of you. Right? So, to wrap up, when you came here 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, you had your brains, you proved that you could use those brains because you had your graduation from high school, you had your feet in the shoes, and all we did is we put a little bit of more knowledge into that brain, and we pointed you into the right direction, and we wish you good luck with the rest of your career, either here at Maastricht University or somewhere else. So, on behalf of all the teaching staff of Biomedical Sciences, I would like to congratulate you for today and enjoy.